Welcome everyone back to Wicso Part 2. Today we've had my corruption my file got corrupted for my recording. But I made a few fixes. Also these guys explored out here and made a colony over here. Uh a bunch of people from this country and this country made this one. And I'm probably gonna make another one right here. Gonna go green for that. We're gonna say they're gonna be this. They're gonna be here. They're gonna expand up. They're gonna expand across. We're gonna say they've explored all this and all this and all this, and then they've explored up this river because it's pretty short. And then they wanted to find out all this stuff. And then they explored up to here for now. That's it. That's all they've done so far. We're gonna say that this country here, it's like, wow, there's so much area we can expand to in the south. And then these guys are going to expand and become more of a naval power. We're gonna go full red for them. No, we're not. We're not gonna do that. Yeah, we're gonna stick with. I don't know if that's the right layer. It's not. There we go. We're gonna say that they build more around their like this one city, and then they're gonna claim like around their peninsula. So they're going to expand all of here, all of this, and try to focus more in on these coastlines, on fishing, on since so much of their economy is now on trade. And then they stop like around here. This is like the tail end. They're like, we'll grab it later. Gonna grab all this. And now so much more of their country is gonna be less of these gigantic, long arm stretches and be much more on the coast like this. And we're going to say that on top of since now that, they know of countries this way, they're going to be like, well, is there anybody this way? So then we're going to go to the explore layer, and then they're going to, explore the coast. They're going to go down and around. They're going to figure out, oh, this piece of land isn't that wide. They're going to, continue exploring, exploring, exploring. And then they're going to find this river. And then they'll find out that this tribe is here. And then they'll ask the tribe to, like, make a country. And we'll do them later. But then they'll keep exploring in case there is more peoples. And when they don't find any, they're like, oh, well, screw it. We'll make our own country on this river. And then they'll go up this river. And they'll, make sure to grab around this water. And we'll make them color. Do we want to make them? Let's make them black. And they're gonna actually remember to grab the coast this time so that they don't have just, and they're gonna look like this roughly. And then their capital city is going to be obviously on the coast because they were founded on the coast. Oh, you know what? I forgot to give these guys one. It's going to go right here on this larger river. They'll probably have a smaller city on the smaller river at some point. Yeah. And then we're going to see this blue country here expanding up the river more, down the banks more. Till they hit this one, and then they'll just continue coming up the river until they hit, where is it? Cultures. Oh no, this is all their culture. Okay. I figured they would have hit a different culture. No, they're just gonna take all this because they're like, oh, more people that are like us. Do you want to join? And they'll be like, yes, yes, yes. And so they'll go up, and then they'll explore in between the oops. They'll explore between the two rivers, pushing back the fog, so to speak. Like, so they know where everything is. And then they'll claim all this, all this, all of this, all of this, all of this. Will they be able to hold any of this? Who knows? That's for a future episode, so stay tuned. We're going to see this country expand fully up to the ends of this river. And then we're going to see them claiming all of the in-between land. And we're also going to see them expand on the bay, since they're also getting a lot of their trade by the river. And they're just going to take all of this. And then obviously the tribe that they are part of is just going to get integrated into them. So we're going to get rid of that on that layer. Boom. This is them, man. This is a big country. And then we're also going to see the same thing over here. These guys are just going to absorb more of their tribe along where they've claimed now. Like, it's not so much that they're like at war, it's more so like these guys are these guys, so when the country expands into them, they're just like, oh yeah, you're us. And we're gonna see these guys explore more of the inland territories around the lake. see where all this water is forming from, which is like around here-ish. They're gonna head like past this river, and then they're just gonna go upstream, up like let's look at the height map here. All the rivers like come from this plain, this higher elevation, these more mountainous areas, and then they're gonna find these flat highlands. And they're gonna be like, well, why did we do that? I guess they were hoping for another stream or another river, but they don't find it. So then they're like, well, we should go back, but then instead they get lost, and then they find this river, and then they get back to this purple country, or like their natural rivals, and then they're like, shit, and they're captured immediately. So now that's a thing. Whatever. Say that they claim that lake entirely. And then they're going to continue expanding down this river and up this river and around this lake to meet their pink friends here. And then the pink ones are going to be like, "Oh, you can't do that to us. So we're going to expand down here to there." And now they naturally border each other. And then pink's going to, and the purple's going to have another major city right here, and then another one right here, and these guys are going to build one here, and these guys are going to build one here, and here. They're going to build one there. Okay, and then we're going to see all this get explored by this tribe. And then we're gonna see, oh man, a crow. They found a new species. These are the crocus. The crocus? The crocus. I kind of like that name, even though I didn't mean to say that. They're anthro-crows, and they live right over here on these mountains up here. On these mountains, if we look at the species map, now it becomes more obvious. These are the crows, or predominantly crow areas. Obviously, there's probably going to be some humans, like where the humans just claimed, for example. But I imagine if they expand too much into the crow areas, they will retaliate, possibly. But you also have to look at the culture map, which they haven't passed. They're good. These guys are, starting to get into this culture, which will be bad for them in the long run, because then they'll have a rebellion at some point. They haven't had it yet. So looking forward to those. But like these guys, oh, they're totally going to rebel. And they're gonna be like, no, we don't listen to you anymore. We're gonna pick light blue for them. We're gonna see them explore more of their surrounding area, more of their culture area. They're going to explore and explore, and then they're going to be like, oh, what if we go all over the mountain? And then they're going to find this river and this glacier, which is cool. This mountain is tall. And they're going to, change to lighter blue. And they're going to be like, well, if we were founded by explorers, but we're going to adapt to the culture because, duh, we care about the people. And then they're going to expand greatly. They're even going to expand all the way down, even though they might not be able to keep it. And then they're going to, build a city on the other side, right on this river. Now the question is, do you think they could hold it? I think they can, because, yep, even though they had to walk over a glacier to get here, I would say that is pretty darn perfect for them. I don't know why it looks bigger on this map mode. Whatever. I'm sure I messed up somewhere, but whatever. It's fine. Going to ignore it. Also, they're not lined up. That's really annoying. They're going to explore this glacier and the surrounding areas. And obviously they're going to find this tribe, which claims to be, their ends, because these guys were part of this tribe, and they're like, nah, we aren't part of you because we're this green culture here, and we're gonna, because these guys are really just these two cultures. I'm sure there's a way I could fix this, I just don't know how. Anyway, then they're going to continue to explore. They're southwards, they're gonna find this cool river, they're gonna go up it for a bit, and then they're gonna be like, no, screw it, we're gonna keep going. Surely there's an end to this land mass, surely. But then they're just gonna keep going and be like, oh, okay, it's been a few days, cool. It's been a few weeks, cool. And then when they're like starting to run low on food, they find this bay, this natural, beautiful day. And then they're just gonna be like, screw it, this is our home now. We're gonna live right here between these two rivers. And that's how the green country is formed. This like dark hunter green country. And they're gonna claim this entire bay area. They're gonna figure out real quick that this is like, oh, this is actually would have been faster just to go from here to here. So then they're so then they on top of claiming all this, they also claim all the way down to here. And then their capital city is going to be right about here. So what's wrong? Ah, I forgot to make it visible. That's my bad. And that's where green's going to be. Right here. Very far from everybody else. But they're gonna know about the others and like want to trade with them at some point. So they're gonna probably focus on expanding more down up the river for more fertile land. So then they explore between here, like their capital and this river, and then they're just gonna keep going up and up and up. And no, I don't know what these grays are. I have no idea what layer that is. I'll figure that out later. But then they're gonna be like, okay, do we want to try these? No, we'll just focus on the main river for now. And then they'll come back for the branches of these rivers. And then they'll be like, oh, there's pretty short in reality. Cool. And then they found this whole long river. And then they're going to be like, well, if we're going to expand, we should like explore more of this. And then they end up accidentally seeing this island. And they were like, oh shit, there's an island? Oh, we could totally claim that. Nobody else is going to, right? Right? And then they're going to expand here, and then they're going to expand all over this island. Boom. And I think that's where we're going to stop for today.